How are we gonna?
Hey guys, we are the Gamer Comic Review Show, and this is our furry test. This is just a test, and this is basically for you and I
Hmm?
to get a feel because we're going to start YouTube, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do reviews. So a few weeks ago, Fallout 4 dropped on E3, and I think at E3, I watched a lot of coverage. I didn't watch everything on E3, but I watched a lot of games on E3, and I thought
Yeah,
Fallout 4 stole the show.
Fallout 4 definitely stole the
It
show.
stole the show. It really did.
I think it's gonna look fantastic on the next
Yeah,
gen.
yeah,
It's
and
gonna.
it's the next gen engine that they created Skyrim in. Skyrim was created on
Yeah.
that same engine, but it's a next level gaming engine, which I think it looks fantastic. And you know what? I heard a lot of backlash on YouTube about
About what?
about how the graphics aren't up to date, and
Up to
it's
date. Those graphics look fantastic. Have
yeah,
you
and
seen
then
those?
and then I've heard a lot of comparisons. Oh, it has to look like the Order 1886, which
No.
you know what? I mean, I've played a little bit of the Order 1886, and it looks fantastic, but like the gameplay feels like Gears of War, but on a
Well,
dumbed down version.
well, have you seen 'cause the as much stuff that they have in this Fallout? Like the mods, there's 10 times more mods. There's 10 times more
Yeah, and you
things
know
you can
what?
do.
That's the thing. Mods will make this game beautiful
You can even
regardless.
you can even do things to your suit to on your armor.
Yeah, your power
Even
armor.
even the way you get into the power armor is totally different. Like you never like on the old other games you just put it on. This game you actually it's a
Yeah,
suit you
yeah,
get
yeah,
into.
and that's one other thing. The gameplay and the combat feels very more like they took a lot of really good elements of like
Mhm.
Battlefield and Call of Duty combat, but they kept it to the Fallout
Yeah.
persona of having a slow motion VATS, which in Fallout 3 and New Vegas
Mhm.
they were time just stops, which isn't really realistic.
That's true. I do feel like I tell you one thing. I saw the Death Claw, the version they have in this next gen.
Oh
It
yeah,
looks
like the devil
it
horns.
looks ridiculous. That alone looks ridiculous. Like I mean, they showed some gameplay and they showed you getting into the suit and killing a Deathclaw. Actually, they showed that and the Deathclaw looks very sick. Like
Yeah, the Deathclaw does not look friendly at all.
I
He's
tell
not
you
Mr.
the
Cutter. He's no Mr. Cuttersworth.
that's true. That and it's a cool thing they're doing is they're showing the beginning. Like the one of the
Yeah,
first
this very
trailers
start,
was
very
about the
start.
first start, which I thought was
Yeah, that's
weird
yeah,
and eerie. And Fallout's always had that weird and kind of eerie feel to it. I
very
think
creepy. Yeah, Fallout's always
creepy.
been creepy, but in a really weird way. It's not creepy where you're shaking while holding your
Yeah,
control. It's the creepy like
just
what's gonna be over that hill or what's
yeah,
gonna be
just
in that
hearing
building if I go in
just
there.
hearing those old classical music at
Yeah.
the beginning.
Oh,
I think I remember.
music.
I still remember just about like if I hear a song from Fallout, I just oh wait Fallout New Vegas. Like I'm trying to remember that I can't remember all the artists or anything from that, but I know that I'm gonna set the world on fire. I can't remember.
That's from Fallout 3. Yes,
Yeah,
the World on
Fallout
Fire. I
World
can't
on
remember the group
Fire.
that wrote it, but World on Fire. I love how Bethesda Game Studios really took the persona of the music and
Mm-hmm.
and all the music is based off of our world's real artists,
Yeah.
and it's all related to like the Cold War about the nuclear bombs and all that stuff. Like the song they played during the gameplay trailer
Yeah.
was called Atom Bomb Baby.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
So
that.
it fit Fallout. It fit Fallout perfectly because in this universe, this is a retro 50s futuristic universe. It's not like a modern day. I mean, like if you look at the cars look like something that like from the 50s,
Mm-hmm.
but with their own little futuristic twist.
that is another thing that actually I watched a video with another friend
Mhm.
and he is really excited. You can actually run. You can actually run in this Fallout.
You can actually run.
You can run.
Something you can never do in other
And
games.
and there are vehicles. There are flying vehicles,
Yeah,
not just
vertibirds.
any vehicles.
Yeah.
Flying vehicles.
Yeah, and that's
But,
another
like,
thing that some people asked and some people were disappointed about. There were no cars. And the thing is with the cars is you
mhm.
know, it would make sense if they were out in the open plains in like the Midwest of the United States.
Yeah.
Like say like
They're-
Iowa and all
they're-
those open fields.
They're in
but
Boston, if I'm not
yes, they
correct.
are in Boston.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Boston. Boston is a heavy urban city with forests,
Mhm.
thick forests surrounding it. And so you really can't drive a car through this place because it's so cram packed. And it's a city along as a deep forest. So you can't really drive a car, but you can drive or you can't drive it, but you can
I
throw
will-
a smoke grenade
I-
and call a vertibird and they'll come pick you up,
I will
which
say,
I think was cool.
I will say one thing about this game. Like I know, like you said, some people are complaining about the graphics or whatnot.
Yes.
And I'm saying that, like I've played this game that I don't know if anyone else is. Maybe yeah, people have played Tomb Raider. And
Right.
one of the qualities about that game that I really liked was how beautiful it looked. Fallout looks beautiful. Like
It does.
the whole symmetry, like when they were showing everything in the trailer, I was just like,
Right.
wow, this is so beautifully
and
done.
I know. I mean, like you can't expect every single game to come out looking like the Order 1886 because this is an ugly trend that we've seen in like. Excuse me. In recent games, the Order 1886 is one of those games that's dull gameplay but it looks tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty is more. I mean, I'm sure that we're gonna get people want to choke us because we're gonna make fun of Call of Duty a little bit here, but Call of Duty's always been a decent looking game, but the gameplay of it is just so dumbed down. All you do is really just point your gun and shoot.
That's true.
You just point a gun and shoot. And I'm not shitting on Call of Duty. I'm really not. But I'm comparing apples and apples here. Fallout 4 is going to have crafting.
Well, that's more like an apple
building.
and a
No, here's the
orange.
thing about Fallout 4. This is what I saw. You can take a laser pistol. And in the older games, you can't take a laser pistol and modify it into a laser assault rifle.
Yeah.
I mean, like we saw the gameplay, and it went from a laser pistol, then to a long laser pistol, then to a rifle, and then to an automatic laser assault rifle, and I was like, holy crap! Because in New Vegas you had mods that you add on to make it more powerful, or put a scope on it, but
yeah, that wasn't really. It really didn't do much.
It really
I didn't even
much.
bother putting mods on all.
I really didn't either. I was just maybe put a couple just like to test it, but that was really about it.
The thing is, like one of the things the guy said while he was, I can't remember his name, while he was talking about it was, he said that in a lot of the Fallouts in the past that there was a bunch of junk that random things that had no purpose. He said in this game everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. Which is exciting to me because when I find something, I'm gonna just be like, what can I do with this?
It's like, all right, I have to make this special barrel in order to turn my plasma rifle, slow firing plasma rifle, into a plasma assault rifle. So I got to find this, this, and this. You go out in the world and get it. But speaking of crafting, you can build settlements.
Yeah, you can build settlements. You can build
like
a house.
Minecraft.
You can build your house and make it bigger too. You can build settlements.
I know. The one thing I love about Bethesda is that they do borrow game studio. They borrow personas from other games, but they do it in a way where it's not stealing it. It's basically they take it and they put it together and they put their own unique twist on it. Like
so
Minecraft,
it's creating something new out of
it's
something
creating something new out of something from the past. Minecraft, I love playing Minecraft, and I love building villages and towns and big citadels and all that other stuff. But in this game, it's like, okay, I'm a guy who's from the pre-war days. I was born before the bombs fell. I fought during the resource wars when oil was super scarce. So now, instead of living in this wasteland and just accepting it, like 200 years of these people being born into this world, your character is not born in this world. He was born in the pre-war days. He was born when the sky was blue and the grass was green and the water was safe to drink and Nuka-Cola was everywhere.
Yeah, he was raised in the vault, just like your character from
and even
three.
Those guys raised in the vaults, they just accepted that fate.
Though I am curious, like just debating here, I am curious to see because they say you're the lone survivor to make it out of the vault. I think they say something along those lines.
Well, here's the thing. I do not think
I don't know
that you're not the only survivor. I think your wife and your son gets out before you do, but maybe they think you're dead or something happens where they get out and then they are...
Are you the guy who went... Because I saw the trailer. I was a little confused about that. Are you the guy who went into the vault or are you the kid grown up?
No, you are the guy that...
You're the guy who went into the vault?
No, and here's the reason why I say that.
Or I was like, are you the baby?
No, you're not the baby, but but they do generate an infant on the couple you guys make. And guys, I mean, you can play as a male or a female.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys can play as a male or a female, but you can create your female character without having to play as a female to generate your couple. It's like your dream wife. It's like I'm gonna sculpt my dream wife here, and then I'm gonna make me and be like, yeah, I have this hot ass wife, and I got a beautiful family. I got a robot butler. I got a decent house. The American dream.
Another thing we didn't mention, your protagonist can talk.
Yeah,
he can talk now.
Talk.
Like that was one of the things where some people didn't like that.
Some people, you're right. Some people
didn't like. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? I like that he can talk because there's some things that you push and you'll say it, but it really doesn't come across.
I know that's the thing. When you play Fallout 3 in New Vegas, you have a huge ton of dialogue, and you can pick whatever you wanted to say. In this one, you have that huge amount of dialogue, but instead of 12 different speeches to say, you get 4 buttons, and then you pick one of those buttons based on karma or based on what would you say in that situation, and then he basically says that line of dialogue, which to me makes it feel better because now I feel that my character, instead of being this silent lone wanderer, silent courier, or bounty hunter, I was now a voice. I had a voice now to speak to people. And now that you are from the pre-war days, maybe you can actually talk about the pre-war days, and maybe Bethesda will give us a lot of insight on the days leading up before the bombs fell. Because if you looked in the house, there is a folded triangle American flag, but the Fallout universe's version of the American flag with the 13 stars in a circle, which basically represents the 13 Commonwealths. And it's a triangle, which means you are a veteran.
Yeah, that means
you're a veteran. You fought in the Resource Wars, or maybe the Anchorage Wars.
And that's different, and that's going to be a whole thing that's different, because in the other games, especially 3.3, you're fresh. You hadn't done anything. You just came out the vault. You killed some people getting out the vault, but that's about it.
Yes.
On New Vegas, there really wasn't much backstory.
And that's why the DLC.
Other than you were a carrier. You were a carrier.
Yeah, the DLC. Yeah, the DLC Lonesome Road does give insight on who you were before you got shot in Goodsprings. Like the DLC. I don't want to spoil the whole story if none of you played it, and if you haven't played it yet, something wrong with you.
New Vegas
buy it.
New Vegas is great, by the way.
It's a great game.
It's good, by the way.
But anyway, it basically gave this character, your courier, instead of just like this random dude who happened to get shot in the head, I was actually a cause of something really tragic. I was the cause of all this. Because like when you go into the Divide, it's so broken and twisted and stuff. And that used to be a thriving community. That used to be a thriving community of people. And it was...
The Divide was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was, by the way.
Pain in the ass.
The cool armor and stuff you find,
yeah,
I will accept it, but here's the thing. Well, because I have PC.
You get a good side buddy, too, in that.
Yeah. Well, the new version of Eddie, which, like, in the Divide, you can find upgrades for the Eddie in the Mojave.
About that. I was like, wait a minute, there's 2?
Well, no, it was like, I can't remember the whole thing, but, yeah, basically there in the Divide, your character was given a backstory, which you're like, I was the cause of all this?
Yeah.
In this game, you're like, okay, I now have a voice to speak to people, and I have this, here I am. I'm alive. I am the lone wanderer of Vault 111. I am a pre-war person. I lived when people were driving these cars you see rusted on the side of the road. I went fishing in that pond before it was irradiated with, like, whatever irradiated fish they might add. I don't know.
No spoilers, but there's going to be But if you're playing Fallout and you haven't played that DLC, there's going to be a character, in my opinion, I don't know about yours, but in my opinion, like, you think he's the bad guy, but he's not.
He's not the bad guy.
And you really going to want him to be with you. I thought you could bring him with you, but you couldn't.
Yeah.
I would have been cool to
have
him
as a
pal.
Yeah. I'm not going to say his name or anything, but he's a character that is really... Like, he's confused. I guess you could. I mean, he has he's basically.
He's very intertwined with you, by the
way.
Yeah,
he's very monotone. I am very monotone. That's how he talks, and he's very monotone, and he's just like he's so obsessed with the pre-war days and pre-war way of thinking that he basically goes, okay, the pre-war was this great for mankind, but at the same time, it wasn't that great. The pre-war days were not that good to live in.
Okay.
And it's, I know a lot of us Fallout players will think, maybe there's a mod that will bring back the days before the Great War, but I have personally looked into, and he's a really great YouTuber on YouTube. His name is Shoddycast. The Shoddycast do a lot of lore on Fallout, which can give you a huge insight into this wide world. And when I saw these videos, I'm like, these pre-war days sucked. I would not want to have lived in those days.
I mean, they weren't. It wasn't like.
Well, it wasn't like in the Wasteland.
Maybe it's not as bad as the Wasteland.
It's not as bad as the Wasteland, but it's still bad.
You can't even walk out in the Wasteland without a powder ganger or somebody.
Yeah, or a raider coming up to you. But in the pre-war days, it was like people hated each other. It was political, military, corporate espionage. Like the back of your hand. It's just like.
Yeah.
I would not want to live in those days, but at the same time, I would like to experience those days. And you get to experience it in Fallout 4. You get to see what day-to-day life was like for the average American family man.
But
or woman.
We talking about Fallout 4 again, right?
Yeah, we still talk about Fallout 4.
I'm not sure. Are they gonna let you play a little bit in that area? Because I know you're not going to be there very long.
Here's the thing. I know you're not going to be in there very long, but I hope you can at least goof around with the technology and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And here's the thing that I like. about the pre-word is that the Vault-Tec sales guy, or I guess whatever you call him, comes up to your door and says, "Hey, listen, we Vault-Tec calling, and they do all this stuff." And I remember the stories as a kid that my grandfather living up in New York would get like I'm in calls and knocks on his door and say, "Hey, listen, I'm part of a company that builds bomb shelters."
Yeah.
This was during the Cold War.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was so cool to see that. I was like, wow, this reminds me of the story my dad told me about this guy calling the house or knocking on the door saying, "Hey, listen, yeah, we're part of a company that
That guy was kind of creepy.
Fallout." Yeah, that guy was really creepy.
He was kind of creepy.
That
He
was
kind
really
of looked.
creepy.
You know what he kind of looked like? The outfit he was wearing. He kind of looked like the lone God, mysterious stranger.
Yeah.
He kind of.
He did. He had the same kind of. And you know what? He left his car there. He just left his car. His Vault-Tec truck sitting there.
I get. What didn't the alarm go off? And
I don't remember.
I think.
Oh yeah, the sirens were
So I
off.
guess it was
As soon
like
as-
screw that car.
Yeah, like as soon as he left, you go into the room and like you kind of play with your son, and then your wife comes in, and then all of a sudden your robot butler says, "Sir, ma'am, I think you want to come."
By the
see
way,
this."
your robot butler survives.
Yeah, he survives.
He actually survived. all
but
that.
he's missing an arm. He's really rusted. It's
Nah,
just
he
like,
can fix him up.
It's just like you kind of have a grin. It's like, oh man, it's like I
He
feel
still
bad.
remembers you too.
And he's like, Mr. Howard, is that you? And that's another thing. If you have a name that they programmed into what people like to say, that name will be used.
That is cool.
Howard was one of those names that you can use, and people who meet you can call you by Howard.
That is
your name.
cool because when people say like when they're talking to you, I always kind of in
Yeah,
games
like-
like
yeah,
this
they
that
refer- yeah.
in games like this that always kind of irks me. I mean, I understand you can't really just
I
put
know,
any
I
name
get
in there,
it, I know.
but at the same time, it kind of irks me when you're talking to people and they're just like,
Yeah, like
you
my
heard
friend,
you.
or you, my friend.
Yeah, you're just like,
I
you know
met
my-
you before. It's
Well,
like
I know
it's,
you, so
It's like I mean, like the one thing that irks me is that like why would you bother putting in a name?
yeah, it's like I might as well not even have a name. Like
But it's like at least in Mass Effect. Well, now I'm gonna get kind of off topic here a little.
we're
Just,
going off topic.
just a little bit. Well, for a split second, it's like well, it has something to do with the names. With Commander Shepard, you only are called Commander Shepard. Like you're never
That was
called
genius.
John Shepard.
That was smart because it doesn't matter what the first name is. They're gonna
It
call you
doesn't matter.
Shepard.
They're gonna call you Shepard no matter like
So-
regardless. And and like I always use the default name John Shepard, and I always like thought that if you used the default name, they would call you that. But if you changed the default name, they might not have called you that. Which I thought it was kind of dumb, but
I use the
anyway,
default
back to the names
everything.
of Fallout. You put in a name. Like I used to call my characters like I would name them after like Norse gods or like Greek gods or that god or that god.
I
And I
just call
thought
my
it'd be really
characters-
a cool name. And it's just like, well, why would I call them this if no one's gonna,
I call my characters just simple, just Sam, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was just like, well, usually my character was white, 'cause, they make the black people look awful on it. I don't know, they can't make a decent black person on these RPG games. Like the last wait, what? I kept trying to think of a game where they made a good black. You know what? Saints Row. Saints Row actually let you make a good black guy.
But the accent though was funny.
Yeah,
The
it
black
was.
accent I thought was hilarious because oh my god,
So,
Saints Row.
Saints Row is another game of an example that you couldn't talk in the first one at all.
But
And then the second one, you start talking. And it was a lot more interesting after that.
yeah, and the second one, the first one I thought was a really good game of Saints Row, and then after that it kind of got so. But anyway, we're getting off topic a little bit. So anyway, let's
We do that.
Yeah, we do that. We're very sorry. We like to ramble. So anyway, let's finish up this and Fallout 4. Now we'll talk about some of the negatives that we saw and also the negative things that we think might happen. But it's not set in stone. This is just what we think might happen. So anyway, you go first.
I'm trying to think. Honestly,
What negative thing did you see with the trailer, the gameplay trailer, and all the photos? What did you see that was kind of off to you?
Kind of off.
Kind of off.
Trying to think. I mean,
This is
you
how
really
good this game is. You
this
really
game
can't
is
find
really,
one.
And when we didn't, it's not like we played it. Like
Yeah,
if
we
had
haven't played it. It's not even out
Now,
yet.
if we had played it, I could give you a lot more negatives.
Yeah.
Because I really don't have many, like a negative for it. Like I
Right.
mean, maybe I'm trying to think of something. Really trying to think of something. Like it seems like they're fixing a lot of stuff. Because I know one of my complaints on New Vegas was the ending, which because
Yeah,
I'm
the
like,
ending.
if you well, I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, we're not going to spoil the ending, but in the ending, no matter what ending you picked, and there were a lot of
Yeah,
endings
it's gonna
you
end
could've
up the
picked.
same way, and it
Yeah,
just
it ended
ends.
up the same way, and it just ends. And in Fallout 3, they added a DLC
Yeah, that's
called
what I
Broken
thought.
Steel that kept you going
that's
after
what I
the main
love
after the main
about
story
3.
was over, and it added more main story onto it. And I thought that was excellent because like when I played Fallout 3 when it first came out, before any of the DLCs came out, I remember it was like you finally your dad. I'm gonna spoil this one thing. Your dad dies, and you got to carry on his will, basically. And then when you finally get to the main, and you finally get the main choice: evil karma or bad karma, and you picked evil karma, and it gave you all the evil outcomes on what happened, and then it gave you the good ones if you picked the good karma. But then it just ended. It's like, I mean, you just die. You kind of like that's kind of like that's kind of
Mass Effect. I thought it was bad at first till it came out with that DLC. Then it got good.
Yeah, then it got pretty bad, and then it was just like it kind of acted like Mass Effect 3 did. It left a really sour
still
taste in my
taste.
mouth.
Like honestly, like I was one of those. Well, we're going off again.
Yeah, we're going off again. Forewarning, going off again. Skip ahead in the video if you don't want to see this.
I was one of those guys who didn't really see the buzz for Mass Effect at first, and then I recently played the whole series
the trilogy
back and. Once I got to the end and saw that ending, like I was like, what is the big whoop? Why are so many mad about this? And then once you go through that story, once you kind of have a connection with all these characters, once you've gone through all of that and get to the end,
Urdnot Rex, man, and
then you're just sitting there like, what the hell?
I know. My favorite one, Urdnot Rex. I thought that he was the best Krogan character ever. I formed an attachment to him because he was so funny. It was like I remember playing in Mass Effect 3.
I accidentally killed him.
You accidentally killed him?
Well, you know that part on the first one where you have to decide?
Yeah, well, you have to have like a high
I didn't, and I had to kill him, and I killed him, and then like I know I saw a bunch of things on YouTube, and I was like, oh man, I killed him.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I saved him. I saved Rex, and I remember in Mass Effect 3, he was making fun of the Solarians, and it was so funny. He was
wouldn't know.
I could throw a few Solarians off the cliff, it'll make you feel better. And I'm like, Rex, come on, dude. It's funny. Anyway, back to Fallout 4.
We might do a video on Mass Effect, by the way.
Well, we will do a video on Mass Effect Andromeda, which was EA's reveal, which was bullshit. We're going to get to that in another video, but right now, let me go through my negatives about it. There's only one negative, only one, that I felt that was a bad thing, and it was the weaponry in Mass Effect. 50 base weapons.
Mass Effect?
Well,
Fallout
4. My brain's
it's okay.
The cogs in my brain are not
okay.
working. I'm very sorry, folks.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm comparing apples and oranges. Anyway, yeah, the guns. There are only 50 guns. 50 base weapons with thousands of modifications.
But I don't know.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I know those modifications can basically change like a rifle to an assault rifle, and like this is a grenade launcher and that. You could basically completely go nuts with it. I get it.
Okay.
But it's just, why not add some new personas to the Fallout universe? Because this is in Boston. This is where the Institute is. This is the high-tech faction. Mm-hmm. And they had 200 years of isolation-ish. I mean, they kind of sent off guys of the Retrieval Bureau to gather androids, but that's about it.
I will say,
and they didn't advance technology to the point where it was so advanced. That's the only thing that kind of irks me. Is they just kept technology from the old world going instead of improving upon it. Like in Fallout New Vegas, there was a guy. I'm not going to spoil all the DLCs he's a part of, but his name was Father Elijah. And you meet him in Dead Money. Well, you get to face with him in Dead Money, but you hear about him in Old World Blues and all that stuff. Old World Blues was an awesome DLC, by the way. I love.
You hear about other ones, which is kind of cool about Fallout. You hear about other DLC characters and other DLCs.
I know, because all the DLCs were connected. All of them were connected.
Except for Honest Hearts. Somebody talks about the Burning Man in one of them.
Joshua Graham.
Meet the Burning Man.
Joshua Graham, I have to say, I think me and him have a small connection, because not just because of our faith. It's because of the fact that he was he acknowledged what he did was wrong, and he was like, you know what, I fucked up.
I have to admit,
I completely fucked up.
This might be tiny bit spoiler, but it was one of the badass things when you first meet him. You just see him loading all those guns.
Loading all those 45 pistols, and he's looking down.
I'm just this dude's a badass. And
you know it.
You know this guy's a badass.
And he was so humble. He was very soft spoken and humble, and he was like, I do what I can to serve the Lord's will, and I do this and I do that, and it was like, holy crap.
It must suck being him, though. I remember
him talking about the burns, and I was like, oh, man.
All right, now we're getting spoiled.
We're getting spoiled.
Right.
Anyway, Father Elijah was one of those Brotherhood of Steel elders who was a scribe, which is weird because only paladins can become the elders, not scribes. Scribes cannot become paladins. But because of his scientific expertise, he became the elder, and he was trying to improve upon technology rather than hoard it together and catalog it. That's the Brotherhood of Steel in a nutshell. They take pre-war technology, pre-war armor, weapons, documents, books, you name it, and they hoard it together and catalog it. That's all they do.
Can I say one minor thing? Not just interrupting you or not. One minor thing. I do want to see what they're gonna do with those pre-war books because they've done weird things. Like
I
first,
know, they've
first
done
they cost a
some weird
lot of money.
things.
First you could sell the pre-war; they were hard to find, and when you found them, you got a lot.
You got a lot
Then
of cash
on
for
New
it.
Vegas, it were easy to find, and you really didn't get
Yeah,
anything
well, that's
for
because remember, like, Las Vegas was not hit by the atomic
Okay.
warheads. That's why all the books weren't burned. It like
Alright.
like in D.C. the nuclear bomb hit the White House.
it. Okay.
That was where the missile hit.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And there's
Just like that.
and when you go to the fence of the White House, there's nothing there, and it's just like that's where the bomb hit. That's where the missile went. That's
If you go out there, you might find a special gun.
Oh yeah, well, don't say anything. But anyway, back to Elijah. He would have improved upon technology. Like he took a grenade launcher, a China Lake grenade launcher. Well, that's what they're called in our world, not the Fallout universe, and he turned it into a holographic, kick-ass pump-action rifle.
Mm-hmm.
It was called the Holo Rifle, and it was so powerful. I mean, you max that thing out to high condition, and you put 2 mods on it that it came with. Oh, it was just like you could kill whenever
that
you
gun was
wanted.
really good.
And especially on the PC where you have God mode on, you just spam like all the ammo. You could kill everything with it. And the Institute, it doesn't look like the Institute are making new weapons or improving new weapons or improving anything. They're just sitting there like, well, we got to keep researching here. That's all they do.
Strike me
Build androids.
if I'm incorrect, but didn't they say something about online, like you being able to like transfer mods or something over to the Fallout?
I heard something about
I heard
that, but that's
something
something
about
that's
that.
in speculation. It's just like
I definitely heard
the
them say
mods
something.
are going to be a huge part of Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is going to have a lot of mods in it. But here's the thing, though. Fallout 4 is going to have so much in it that mods will just be like, if you want to. It's just like, there's going to be so much in it that I might not even use mods. I might, maybe use a couple graphical mods.
I kind of wish I
Or
saw
immersion mods, like maybe like realistic thunderstorms and all that other stuff.
Maybe I got one little minor thing. I kind of wish I saw more than. I feel like in every Fallout, the dog is your companion. Like in the trailer, they show a dog, and I kind of wish they would have showed somebody else as a companion.
That's a good point.
I'm always
Yeah, your new
always see a
companion-
dog, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's cool, you can get the dog, but I'm like,
Yeah, you get the dog right off the bat too.
Can
by the way.
we add another kind of chemistry? I was always kind of sad in 3 that spoiler, the chick at the beginning, you can't have as companion. I thought eventually she'd be
I know,
the new
yeah.
companion,
And here's the
she
thing, it was
wasn't
like
your
I formed
companion.
such an attachment to her that I was
Yeah.
like, why can't I have
And she just kicks you out. There's like some other thing that happens, and she kicks your ass out. Never
It's just
see
like I
you.
had a connection with this woman. I was like, you know what? Like if I had free dialogue, I'd say, "Will you marry me?"
Yeah, like
it was like that's how I felt.
I hope they let you get in a relationship in this too.
I think they will.
Because I always thought that was
because
kind of
remember,
weird
your
about the
wife
other
and
one.
son were lowered into the vault with you. But here's the thing, though.
I keep-
I don't think that you are the lone survivor. I think maybe your wife and son may be still in there.
Mhm.
Or they got out. Maybe like a couple days after you did, or before you did.
But that's why my theory is it's just a son. That's the
Because-
only reason I think, because I
yeah.
feel like if you're the father and you have a wife and kid and they're still alive, that's holding you
Yeah.
down from that freedom that Fallout's
Well,
known
yeah,
for.
and that could be the main quest. That could be your search to find them, and maybe like that's an awesome quest. It was like your wife and son meant so much to you in the
Yeah.
pre-war days, and you would do anything to protect your son and your wife.
I mean,
and
this is
you're
all
like,
speculation. I don't know. We
and
really
like your
don't
character
know,
though,
so.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, like, and then Bethesda even said they generate an infant from
Mhm.
your couple, and then you're just gonna blow him up. Like, why would you go to all that work to create your own generic, well, not generic, but your own generated baby with your couple, and if you're just gonna kill it?
Maybe-
if that were the case, you might as well just left it, whatever.
This is what my theory is. Maybe they just killed the wife.
Maybe that could be the case, or yeah, they could, and then you
Or
do-
the husband, or if you're the wife, they
Yeah,
just kill the husband.
but
So
the
that
son
way- so that
was
way-
taken or something.
Yeah, because I feel like if you have a wife and stuff, they trying to hold you down from doing other things. If you just have a
Maybe.
son, it's our daughter. Either way, it's just that daughter. You're worried about that.
Right.
But I feel like
Yeah, and then
wife or a husband,
and it's like, I mean,
kinda hold
maybe
you down.
Raiders or something found Vault 111 and they managed to open it somehow, and then came in there and your wife and son were just waking up and they were taken, and
Yeah.
your wife was killed. You find her dead, and then you're just like, your baby's still alive. Your son Sean is still alive. His name's Sean, by the way. Funny enough, and your son is still alive. And you're like, no, it's just like I've been searching for you guys forever, and now I find my beautiful wife dead, and my son. Oh shit.
Now I know how Boone feels.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Boom.
Except he might feel worse. He didn't find her.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
well,
what
that's
I'm
it. She was taken by slavery.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler. My bad.
We
That's
gotta
gonna be
put
cut
some-
out.
We're just.
Anyway,
killing us.
guys, that's our opinion on Fallout. It comes out November 10th, 2015, in 5 months, 4 to 5 months.
I gotta upgrade.
And so anyway, guys, the next video we're gonna do is we are going to review a past game that we have played and our opinions on it. We're gonna either do Fallout 3 or New Vegas. We're just gonna have to see which one if we come up with it. But then after that, we are going to do a talk about Mad Max, the newest Mad Max, and we're gonna get off that, and I'm gonna show him the whole video, and then we're gonna come back. So anyway, guys, thank you. This is
the test.
This is the test video. This is completely garbage. This is completely garbage. We're gonna have better.
Garbage. This was great.
Anyway.
To me.
Well, yeah. Well, shit. Damn. Anyway, guys, this is the radio show, talk show, whatever you call it.
It is the Comic Gamer
Or
movie show. There we go.
There we go. I was pulling his leg. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.